Hello viewers, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 2020 Hyundai Tucson with a 2.4 liter engine. The customer complaint on this vehicle is the check engine light is flashing on the dash and the vehicle is losing power. So the owner of this vehicle moved from Texas. He actually moved to Frederick from Texas. And then she told me that when she was searching for auto repair shops near where she lives, she Googled auto repair shops near me, and then our shop came up. And then she said that she decided to bring her vehicle to our shop because she read the Google reviews. So she said the Google reviews were awesome, and then she came across our videos, she read the comments, and she said, you know what, I gotta take my vehicle to these guys. So Mrs. Customer, thank you very much for bringing, I can't think of her name right now, so I'm sorry. Thank you very much for bringing business to us. And I would like to thank you all for leaving Google reviews on our business Google page. So if you have already come to our shop and if we have serviced your vehicle, please leave us a Google review. If our videos have helped you in the past, please leave us a Google review because it helps us, it helps our shop. A lot of customers look at the reviews first before they come to us. So if you want to support us, leave us a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave us a Google review. And I have Ian here with me. Ian, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we are actually working outside. It's raining. Cameraman Kyler is behind the camera. I mean, I hope you guys could see what Kyler is going through right now. There's actually rainwater falling on him, but Kyler, I appreciate you. Thank you for your hard work. We want to create content for you guys. We want to film as much as we can so we can bring out better content for you guys. So, cameraman Kyler, once again, thank you for your hard work. So, now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start the engine. Ian, you'll be in the vehicle.
Yes,
I'm going to be out here. I'm going to have the scan tool. You're going to start the engine first. You and Kyler will be in the car.
Okay.
Kyler is going to show the check engine light. The check engine light is flashing. I saw it flashing when I drove the vehicle here. And then you're going to turn off the engine so that we can scan it, and then we'll go from there. So
that sounds good.
you can go in the vehicle and start the engine.
Oh, who's got the key?
Do I have the key? Oh, sorry, I have the key. Okay, there. So as you can hear, the engine is running. Kyler is going to show you guys the check engine light. Can you rev it up a little bit? Okay, so you can see the check engine light. So that's customer's complaint confirmed. I would like to show you guys the engine as Ian is revving up the engine in the vehicle. Rev it up. You see that? This doesn't sound good. Rev it again. All right, so that's good. Turn off the engine. Turn the key on. Yeah. This is misfiring badly. We don't want to run it for too long because we can cause more damage. Now, I don't know how long she drove the vehicle while the engine was misfiring, so we will see. Is the key on the dash? Perfect. So let me get the screen recording going here. Now, some of you might remember Robin and I worked on a similar engine. It was on the Honda Sonata. Actually, Kyler worked on that video. That engine had a code for cylinder 3 misfire, and then the valve had a piece that was missing, so the valve had a hole in it. So I hope that's not the case with this one. And then this one has, how many miles on that car?
91,704.
90 what?
91,704.
91,000. So 91,700 something. So now let's scan it and see what happens. Now we've diagnosed misfires here on our YouTube channel. When an engine misfires, it could be caused by a lack of fuel on a specific cylinder, or lack of spark on a specific cylinder, or a mechanical problem, which can cause low compression on a specific cylinder. So let's see if we have a specific cylinder that's misfiring, and then we're gonna do some tests to figure out why we have a misfire. So this should be pretty straightforward. Hopefully it's going to be straightforward because we don't want to be out here for too long. It's raining. Guys, give a shout out to our cameraman, Kyler, behind the camera. Kyler is a trooper. Kyler is working hard. We appreciate you, Kyler. And actually, I can't wait for you guys to see the upcoming videos. Kyler has worked on awesome videos. Kyler, good job on those videos. You guys will love the videos that will come out. Yeah, there you go. Round of applause for cameraman Kyler. You guys will love the videos that will come out in the next few weeks. We got great videos coming up. Kyler has worked on them. He did a great job. The color, the sound, everything, top notch. You did great, Kyler. I can't wait for everybody to see those videos. All right, so the scan tool has identified the vehicle, 2020 Hyundai Tucson front wheel drive. So 91,000 miles, 704. So let's click OK. We're gonna do a code scan. Let's scan all the control units on the vehicle and see what we got. Interesting. We have a knock signal range / performance. That's odd. I thought we were gonna have a misfire code. Now, this knock signal can be the byproduct of a potential misfire that could be happening with this engine. Let's see what codes we're gonna have on the generic side of the scan tool. Because this knock signal range / performance code can be caused by a bad knock sensor or a problem in a knock sensor circuit. Because if the engine is misfiring, the knock sensor can pick up that pinging and the engine computer can throw a knock sensor code as a byproduct of whatever that's causing the engine to misfire. So let's scroll down and see what else we have. So we have one code in the engine computer. The code is P1326 and it says knock signal range / performance. We have 0 codes in the transmission control unit, 0 codes in the ABS, 1 code in the airbag. It says battery voltage low, so the battery might have been low at some point. We don't have codes on all these on all these control units, so that's good. And then on the generic side, we have 1 code, P1326. It's a manufacturer specific code. P1326. So let's go in the engine computer. Maybe the knock sensor is bad. Let's look at the code again. So that's the only code we have. So let's go to data. I want to look at some misfire data first to see. Let's go misfire data. Although we don't have a misfire code. All right, so we got our misfire data pulled up. So Ian, go ahead and start the engine. So you guys will see this on the screen. It's not misfiring though. It's not misfiring right now. Rev up the engine. Interesting. It's not misfiring. Rev it up. Odd. Okay, turn it off. Turn the key on. Okay, so the engine is not misfiring at idle, so that's good. There's like a little bop coming from under the hood. It sounds like an exhaust leak. Let's go to ignition. Let's see if we have some knock sensor data PIDs here. Nothing here. Okay, you know what? I'm not really familiar with this code. I'm gonna look it up. Okay. So the code is 13, I believe it's 1326. Let's go to our service info. I hope the Wi-Fi signal is good enough out here. This is a Tucson. Hold on, let me go look. What kind of Tucson is this? It's a regular Tucson. Tucson Limited, Tucson Value, Tucson SE. 1326. Let's look it up. Okay, so while our service info is loading, let me see if I can figure out where the knock sensor lives. I believe the knock sensor on this vehicle is under the intake manifold. We can't do it out here. Okay. Let me remove the engine cover. Let's pop this off. This is not good. Look at this, Kyler. There's oil over here, so this valve cover is leaking, and looks like we got some. Looks like mice was living here. Look at that. Leaking valve cover gasket. Okay, that's good to know. Because what I would like to do is I would like to get to the knock sensor connector and then check the wiring of it to see if there's a bias voltage going to the sensor. Okay, let's look up this code and see what sets this code. So code is P26. No, I think it was P1326. Right here, knock sensor. Okay, let's see if there's a TSB about this code. Rev Up system. No, this is not it. Okay, there's a TSP about this code, and then what's the remedy? Oh, piston ring deposit. It looks like this engine. This is a problem engine. These Hyundai engines. Yeah, look, you guys will see this. Anyways, I mean, I don't want to read through all of this. And I believe Honda covers some of these engines under warranty. So if there's something wrong with the engine, it could be covered under warranty. I might have to call our local Hyundai dealership to figure that out. So here's the knock sensor. This is our knock sensor here. I remember doing a knock sensor on this engine a while back. The knock sensor on this engine is under the intake manifold. So, and since it's raining out here, we can't do this. We're gonna have to put this on the lift. We're gonna have to drive this vehicle in the shop. So that's good to know. Let's go to realist fixes. I'm just going through all the info I have here on the scan tool to see if this is gonna be helpful. So it looks like someone had this problem. They replaced the knock sensor and that fixed it. Top repairs. Knock sensor replaced. Interesting. Component operation. Okay, so guys, if you want to read about this, you can pause the screen and read about this stuff. I'm not going to bore you with the description of this. This is how a knock sensor works on this particular application. This is how you troubleshoot this. Or rough idle stall, inspect ignition coil. Okay. So I'm just gathering as much data as I can before we start attacking this. Okay. So we gotta pick a direction and go with it. So here's what I'm gonna do. I would like to do a relative compression test just to rule out any mechanical issue that this engine might have, although it seems to not misfire at idle. I'm gonna do a relative compression test, and then after that we're gonna drive the vehicle in the shop so we can get access to the knock sensor. I mean, we can also access the knock sensor wiring at the PCM connector, but the thing is, if the problem is the sensor, I always like to do my test at the sensor and then work my way back to the PCM. So I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do this, because yeah, the knock sensor is somewhere. I can see it. It's somewhere back there. We're gonna have to access the sensor from under the vehicle. So let's do the relative compression test now, and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get my lab scope set up, and then I'll bring you guys back up so we can do our relative compression test. All right, so I have my test leads connected to the battery. So we're gonna do a relative compression test. We're gonna watch the voltage drop across the battery when the engine cranks. Now, we don't want the engine to start. What I did off camera is I removed the fuel pump relay, and I also removed the fuel pump fuse, this fuse over here. Okay, so with the relay and the fuse being removed, the engine shouldn't start. Actually, I removed the relay first, the engine kept running, and then when I removed the fuse, the engine stopped running. So let's go to our lab scope. You guys have seen me do this. I just want to rule out any potential mechanical issues out of the way. I don't think we have a mechanical problem with this engine, but it's a Hyundai engine, you never know. Okay, so it's better to be safe than sorry. So we're gonna AC couple this. We're gonna drop our voltage scale to 1 volt. We're gonna increase our time base to 2 seconds. Okay, so right now we should see, right now the engine should crank, and the engine is gonna crank, but it's not gonna start. So go ahead and crank it in. What? Crank it again. It's trying to start, just residual fuel. Crank it again. Perfect. Turn it off. Great. Actually, so we have, first of all, the engine sounds good. I hear a nice, consistent cadence as the engine is cranking. So this tells me we don't have a mechanical problem with this engine. And then when I'm looking at my waveform here, we have a nice and consistent waveform across the screen. So we have peaks and valleys across the screen. So this is good. Actually, let's take another capture. I'm gonna invert this. Crank it. Nice. All right, we're good. Check this out. Nice and consistent. Our peaks and valleys across the screen look nice and consistent. So mechanical issue is not our issue here. So since we don't have a cylinder that's misfiring, I would like to focus on the knock sensor. So we're gonna have to drive the vehicle in the shop, and then we're gonna back probe. I believe the knock sensor on this vehicle has 2 wires. So we're gonna check the wiring. If the wiring is good, then we're gonna replace the sensor. I believe it's gonna need a sensor, a knock sensor, but we just don't replace sensors here. We do our test first. So we're gonna stop here. It's almost lunchtime. We're gonna go get some lunch, and then after lunch we'll bring you guys back up. We'll bring you guys back up after we put this on the lift so we can get access to the knock sensor. So Ian, thanks buddy. We're gonna stop here for now. Kyler, thanks for being here. See you guys in a little bit after we get this up in the air. All right guys, we got the Hyundai Tucson up in the air. So we can see the knock sensor. So it is over here under the intake manifold. So I don't know if Kyler is gonna be able to see it. So here's our knock sensor right there. So the knock sensor is wet. Now, if we follow the wire of the knock sensor, you can zoom out. So the wire of the knock sensor comes up here. Do you see this? See this wire? You see this electrical connector?
Yeah.
So this is the electrical connector of the knock sensor. So we can back probe the wiring of the knock sensor from under the hood. Now we're gonna test the wiring of the knock sensor. So if Kyler can come here under the hood, so we can access the wiring of the knock sensor under the hood. So these 2 wires that you see are the wires for the knock sensor, okay? The black wire and the red wire. So I'm gonna back probe these 2 wires. Okay, so I'm gonna back probe this one, and then we're gonna back probe the second one. Just like that, perfect. So now, let me get my lab scope set up. We're gonna use our first 2 channels. We are grounding our lab scope at the battery, so battery ground. So we're gonna be on the voltage scale. Let's go to 20 volts. You guys will see this on the screen. Okay, so Ian, can you turn the key on for us? Let's see what voltages we're gonna have on the lab scope. So key is on. Okay, go ahead and start the engine. Okay, rev it up. Okay. All right, turn off the engine. So here's what I want to do. I'm gonna clear the code to see if something is gonna change, if the engine is gonna run better. And then if that doesn't help, I'm gonna disconnect the sensor from the wiring harness to see if that's gonna help. And then at that point, I'm gonna feel comfortable replacing the sensor. Now, to get the sensor removed, we might have to remove the intake manifold. So I don't know if we're gonna film the process of replacing the sensor. I might have to replace the sensor off camera and then bring you guys back up. So we will see. So let's go into the scan tool. I'm gonna clear the code. Let's see if we can get rid of this code. So everything looks good. Let's go in the engine computer. So this is our code. Oh, we also have a fuel pump primary circuit code. This was because we disconnected the fuel pump relay and the fuel pump fuse. So our code is P1326. So that's the code we are going after. Now I have all these codes saved in the engine computer. So if I ever want to see them, I can go back and look. So I'm gonna clear the code. Let's see if this code is gonna go away. Let's read the code again. No codes present. So go ahead and start it. Okay. So now rev up the engine. Rev it up. All right. You see how even the RPM changed? Because I cleared the code. So that sensor is failing. It's just a sensor. Rev it again. Okay. So I believe what's happening is when that code sets, then the engine computer goes into some type of fail-safe mode, which prevents the engine from revving up all the way. So now let's go to our lab scope and see what we're gonna find. Rev up the engine. Rev it. All right. Yeah, this is a sensor issue. Hold on, let me disconnect the electrical connector of the sensor. So right now with the sensor connected, we have 1.61 volts on the yellow trace, and then we have 0.01 volt on the green trace. So green trace is ground, and then yellow trace is the voltage that goes to the sensor. So I'm going to disconnect this. Okay, sensor is disconnected. We still have the same voltage. Voltage is still the same. Rev up the engine. Let off. Rev it up. Let off. Rev it. Let off. Okay. Now, the fact that we have 1.061 on the yellow trace and 0.01 on the green trace with the connector disconnected, as you can see right now, we are connecting to the wiring on the harness side. So, since we have these voltages on the lab scope screen, this tells me that the wiring of the sensor is good. So, from the sensor all the way to the engine computer is good. So, this is a sensor problem. Let's go to the engine computer to see if we set a code. Let's see. No codes yet. So I'm gonna reconnect the wiring. Okay. Now, since I have my long test leads connected here, I'm gonna take the lab scope with me in the vehicle. Let's go on a quick test drive, and then after that we're gonna come back. I'm gonna recommend replacing the sensor. I am going to make an estimate for a sensor replacement. I'm sure the customer is gonna approve our estimate, and after that we should be good to go. So I wanna watch the voltages on the wiring of the knock sensor when we are driving. So let's go on a test drive. All right, so let's take this for a spin. I still have my lab scope connected to the knock sensor wiring. So we still have 1.61 volt on the yellow trace and then 0.02 volt on the green trace. So let's see if this is gonna change while we're driving. And then if that doesn't change, we're gonna replace the sensor. We should be good. Oops. I thought I was gonna hit that car. I was like, man, it just dropped off this car. All right. So, yeah, it revs fine now. It wasn't revving up before when the knock sensor code was in the engine computer. Yeah. So I believe what's happening is the knock sensor is failing intermittently. Because now it's fine. It's nice and toasty in here. This is why Ian was sitting in the car. I see. It's clean, it's warm, yeah. The owner of this vehicle takes care of her vehicle. It's a clean car. Yeah, this is gonna need a sensor. You guys will see this on the screen. Yeah, sensor. We're gonna have to change the sensor on this one. I believe it's gonna be easier removing the intake manifold to replace this sensor instead of trying to go from underneath the intake manifold. Okay, well, I saw what I wanted to see, because as we are driving right now, I wanted to see if the sensor was gonna produce a high voltage intermittently while we were driving, but that's not happening. So let's go back to the shop. Yeah, with all the voltages I see and everything I see on the lab scope screen, I feel comfortable condemning this knock sensor. This knock sensor needs to be changed. So I'm gonna drive back to the shop. I will make an estimate. Once the customer approves our estimate, we're gonna get this fixed. I don't know, I'll have to think about whether we're gonna show you how we're gonna remove the intake manifold or not. Or maybe I'm gonna get the intake manifold removed, and then before we remove the sensor, I'll bring you guys back up so I can show you the old sensor, okay, before we change it. So this should be pretty straightforward. We can actually do it outside if we end up removing the intake manifold. So I'm gonna drive back to the shop, I'll get this approved, and then we'll give you guys an update. So see you guys in a little bit. All right guys, I'm gonna give you an update about the Hyundai Tucson that we were working on a couple of days ago. The owner decided not to fix it. I sent her the estimate for the knock sensor replacement. After looking at service info, it was recommended to remove the intake manifold so we could get to the knock sensor and replace it. I called our local Hyundai dealership. They told me that they had the knock sensor. I sent the customer all the info. She got the estimate, and then she called me back and said that since she's joining the army, she's only here for the next month. She will be gone, so she doesn't want to put a lot of money into the vehicle. So I was like, well, you can fix it at least and drive it for a month and then sell it. But you know, I believe the bill was, I don't even remember how much it was. I think it was like 700, around that number. So she said she doesn't want to spend that money, so she's gonna, I believe she's gonna get rid of the vehicle. Now, what was happening when we cleared the code, the vehicle drove a little bit better. I told her since the code was cleared, the vehicle was driving better, but eventually the check engine light was gonna come back on. And she said, okay, she agreed, she picked up the vehicle, so there won't be a repair video, so we're not gonna fix that vehicle. So that's where we're gonna leave this. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumb down. So I wanted to give you guys an update so you could know what happened with that Hyundai Tucson. Cameraman Kyler, thanks for being here. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for being here, everybody. See you next time.